The job of a front-end developer is to use the browser APIs to manipulate the HTML documents and make beautiful user interfaces. So one of the APIs which is available to us in the browser is called the DOM API. And DOM stands for Document Object Model. So if I go to Mozilla and just Google what is DOM Mozilla, this snippet shows up in Google, and let's read what this says. It says that the DOM is called the Document Object Model, is an API that represents and interacts with any HTML or XML document. So it's basically just an object which is given to us by the browser, and it helps us manipulate or work with the HTML or the XML document. In our case, it's the HTML document because we were talking about the web page. Next, it says that the DOM is one of the most used API on the web because it allows code running in a browser to access and interact with every node in the document. So basically what it's saying is that if I go to this document, I have this document created, it has some stuff inside, nothing fancy, just some text. And if I put in document over here like such, you see if I hit enter, it gives me an object representation of the document. So this is an object and it's representing this particular document or the HTML page. Each of these elements, we know these are elements, are actually called node in the language when we are talking about the DOM. So over here, when we go back to our cheat sheet, it says, what is a node on the right-hand side? It says every item in the DOM tree is called a node. So this is a tree because this is the document. It has all of this HTML node. Inside the HTML node, it has two children, head and body. If I expand body, I get two additional children, header and main. If I go inside, I get one more child node, which is called the div node, right? So basically, it has a lot of different nodes and it's like a tree, right? It keeps on going down. Now, there are two types of nodes that a DOM has. One is a text node, which is a node with just some text, and one is an element node. So far, we're seeing this is an element, this is an element, but inside this div, we have some text over here. My awesome website is also a node, but it's not an element, it's just a text node. So these are the two types of nodes we have. Now there are certain other terminologies as well. There is something called a child node. So a node which is a child of another node is called a child node. Similarly, there's a parent node. A node which has one or more child is considered a parent node. So the header node is considered a parent node of this node, right? So parent-child relationships similar to what we have seen in HTML. So there's something called a descendant node. A node which is nested deep in the tree is a descendant, or a sibling node. So any node that share the same parent are siblings, right? Just the way in the real world. So these are certain terminologies which we're going to be using throughout when we're working with the DOM. Now, one thing before we go into the details of using the DOM, these are a lot of these different APIs that we have to change the DOM and work with the DOM. So one thing to keep in mind, or one concept to think, is that when you're working with the DOM with JavaScript, what you're doing is you're doing basically 4 activities, all right? So you're either creating a DOM element, you are reading or getting a DOM element, you're trying to read what's on the document, you're either updating or modifying the node which you have, or you're deleting a node. So these activities, these CRUD, is sometimes called CRUD. The terminology CRUD, CRUD, over here is used in the sense of the web APIs, right? So that's covered in a different course of how to work with the web. But I'm just trying to give you an idea that you can also think about the DOM API in terms of CRUD, because you're creating something, reading something, updating something, or deleting something. So that's just a kickstart into understanding DOM and nodes and the DOM API. And in the next video, we're going to start studying and using these APIs and see how they actually help us create the modern web. Talk to you in the next video.